Hey guys, we're going to be playing some Star Wars Rebellion today, and we're using the Rise of the Empire expansion, if anyone's familiar with that. I went ahead and got the board set up and ready to go. The Empire already placed their starting units, they get to place first, and I'm going to be playing the Rebels today. One of the biggest advantages you have as the Rebels is that you get to kind of place after the Empire. So I'm going to kind of take a look at the board. We use the advanced setup rules here, which kind of randomize the starting positions. Let's go over them real quick. So looking at my starting planets, it doesn't look like any of them are really within range of the Imperial fleet, except for Naboo, which ironically is the least important one to me, with Mon Calamari getting me the Mon Calamari cruiser, and then Kashyyyk getting me those ground forces each round. Looking over at the Imperial side, it looks like Sullust and Magito is really fortified, probably because they're subjugated. And then we have Tatooine, which is where the Death Star under construction is, and that's really vulnerable looking. As we look over to the loyal planets, they're much less defended, with the loyal planets being Mustafar, Corellia, and Rhodia. So I think we're going to do a turn 1 Death Star attack from Geonosis over to Tatooine. We're going to land what troops we can, and then we're going to leave some behind, basically as an annoyance to him. And taking Geonosis would be pretty good because it gives us this square recruitment, which can be used for shield generators or ion cannons to beef up our base. The question is, where do we put our base? I don't want to make it directly adjacent to anything he can move easily. I think I'm going to go with Alderaan because while he can move there within a couple turns, he shouldn't be able to immediately do it. And I'm hoping he won't have a lot of incentive to go there just because the production there is low. All right, so our strategy here is we're going to get some defenses there, but he has a card that kind of gives him some oomph the more you put there. And I don't see him taking it turn 1. There's a chance he surprises it and he just gets an early win, but let's just make this area as annoying as possible. And I'm hoping to keep him away from Kashyyyk and Mon Calamari. All right, so for my starting action cards, I get C-3PO, which helps me a little bit with diplomacy, and I get R2-D2, which helps me a bit with, actually, ironically, combat. And these are things that I play immediately. All right, so I went ahead and added R2-D2 to General here, because I think he's going to be my initial attacker. And then Leia's going to get a C-3PO for some diplomacy rolls. All right, so obviously first round, we need to attack that Death Star, and we're going to try to get rid of it. Something that you should really always do is build alliance. This is kind of the rebel strength, is just getting loyalty and systems. And the fact that they can do it anywhere, as opposed to the Empire, who's restricted to doing it in certain places, is nice. So it looks like the special ones we got is gain 1 loyalty in the system and 1 loyalty in one other system in this region. Solid card. So this will kind of speed up one of our deployments. So something I forgot to do is draw the objective card. So I went ahead and drew that now. It doesn't really change my game plan up too much. Had I known that before setup, maybe I would have tried to go for the core a little more, but it's okay. So I'm hoping to use Dodonna to first round take out that Death Star, get that off the board, and then use these 2 cards to get a strong loyal base and a rapid mobilization to clean up some pieces that may be vulnerable after the wreckage and kind of protect my base on Alderaan, because while I don't think he can hit it this round, it is open to future attacks. But I'm hoping his primary target will be more going out in the galaxy and such. So I'm going to attack on Tatooine. Alright, so I've attacked Tatooine. He's decided to put Darth Vader down for defense. So for in the air, I can do kind of like a defensive thing. Let's see, what do I want? So I'm going to go ahead and just play this to cancel whatever it is he's playing. I think I have enough dice to kind of outdo him here. So it's more a defensive play. Aha! You have been thwarted! My glorious fleet is trying to attack your 4 TIE fighters, and this is what I've got. Alright. So let me go ahead and roll dice. What is this nonsense? So I'm rather disappointed with this. In the expansion rules, the cinematic kind of sabers crossed here will heal, but since I'm on the attacking side, there's no real opportunity to heal anyhow. So I'm going to use Tandana to reroll these 2 blacks. And it looks like I re-rolled those and got misses again. Alright, so this didn't go so well in space. Yep, you killed a couple things. Let's see if this clear casualties button works. Looks like it did. But now, hopefully I can do a little better on the ground combat side. Alright, so this one's looking a lot better for me. So I was hoping that there was something to do with, and this is the exact moment where I realized we forgot to play ground combat cards, and I could have played Confrontation in order to completely eliminate Darth Vader from the board. So I'm really hoping for a win here in space. Like I really want to take out. I probably should have tried. So I probably should have played Rogue Squadron support on the first round to get 2 black damage. I think it would have made things turn out a lot better for me. Alright. I'm going to play this to try to prevent some damage. I really am hoping that that Carillion Corvette can save the day. So his tractor beam here does 1 red damage, but my card prevents 1 red damage, so it's kind of a wash here. Okay, so I'm going to use the prevent 1 direct hit to prevent your 1 direct hit. And then kill 2 of your TIE fighters. Get them out of here. So this is really important. I really just want to survive. No, I'm scared. So I think right here would prevent 2 red damage, but it wouldn't prevent direct damage. I'm pretty confident that I'll get 1 roll. So let me go ahead and do this one to try to prevent some red damage. Alright, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm going to use this to prevent 2 red damage. Come on, Carillion Corvette. No! Deal 1 damage. Doesn't specify red. But there's a chance I can heal it. Because it won't go away until the end. All right, so after extensive rule lawyering, it looks like if you have a situation where the Death Star under construction is alone with a rebel transport, you are forced to retreat, and the Death Star under construction remains. So it was a good attempt. All right, so we'll retreat with a couple of our units here. That'll give us a staging ground to attack other areas. Utapau is a really great system to pick up. Let's see if he gets scared keeping that Death Star alone. I'm hoping he pulls units in. So if he gets scared and he reinforces the Death Star, I'm going to consider that a win because it'll keep him occupied. Although he really can't this round because he deployed Vader. That leaves me an opportunity to perhaps, if he doesn't attack Geonosis, attack again next round. Something funny I noticed is that he actually made the little miniature for the Death Star under construction bigger because right now he's super afraid I'm going to take that thing out. So I'm going to use regional aid in order to get loyalty in. I'm going to do it on Kato Namario. And then I get one loyalty in one other system in this region. So I'm going to move Corellia over to neutral, but it's going to be subjugated because you still have some people there. And we'll see how that impacts him. I kind of don't want him to move to these inner regions, so that may be a mistake. But preventing him from getting that ship reinforcement in Corellia would help me kind of neutralize some of the naval superiority that he has. So this is one of the cards that really prevents me from playing Sabotage a lot because I feel like they can just play Research and Development and kind of get a net gain off of Sabotage, and it's really just an annoyance. And the Rebels don't start with many heroes that have fist icons in order to even pull off Sabotage. I'm going to build an alliance on Utapau. So they become Rebel Loyalist. So looking at this, I've now blocked off Corellia from getting a Star Destroyer. And I'm now going to get Mon Calamari and Utapau both getting Mon Calamari Cruisers, I think they're called. Yep, Mon Calamari Cruisers. So that will help me start establishing a naval might. Another route that's valid that I really enjoy is trying to get more ground forces than the Empire because they tend to be able to grab the project cards, which he has played, to make up for some of their space battles. So I played Rapid Mobilization here because I was worried he was going to move closer to Alderaan, and this would be my opportunity to move units back into the base in case I needed to defend there. It ends up that he didn't do that, and this was kind of a waste of an action. I should have done a Sabotage or something a little bit more useful. For objective, play if at least 3 Imperial systems contain either a Sabotage or a Rebel unit, which is nice. For this, we're choosing who we want to recruit. That would be pretty nice because I believe he has a couple of subjugated places that only have 1 ground unit. And then getting one of them would be pretty nice. Yeah. Looks like we have Sullust, at least. So I'm trying to decide between Jyn Erso and the one with the Force guy. And ultimately, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the one with the Force guy just because starting off, the Rebels don't have a lot of characters that provide strength. And that could be really useful going forward. So my original plan was to deploy here, but it looks like I'm blocked because I don't have any units there. I mean, I'm blocked because I don't have loyalty in that system. So it looks like he's going to get the Death Star out. So my objective cards all really have to do with me having units around Coruscant and in his space. So I deployed pretty much everything that I have into Cato Nemodia. I want to move into an adjacent system to Coruscant, or maybe Coruscant itself, but just to get this objective here, threaten the core. I don't like incentivizing him moving in this direction because of where my base is currently, but I'm hoping to get some deployed units there next round. The other thing is if I can get some sabotage markers or units in areas that he owns, it would help towards this. So during the assignment phase, place this leader in any subjugated system, gain 1 loyalty, and destroy 1 triangle ground unit in the system. Which triangle for you is a stormtrooper? So I'm going to take, let's say, Sullust. Sullust looks like it needs to be liberated. Okay, so kind of priority wise, I'm looking at Mon Mothma is going to be establishing trade relations, and I really want to get loyalty somewhere adjacent to that Death Star. And I want to try to split his focus so that the fleet that is on this planet doesn't reinforce the Death Star. Because I'm hoping next turn I can get something to strike that Death Star under construction before it comes out. We're also going to be doing a building of an alliance. And again, building alliance is the most annoying thing you can do against the Imperial player. It is definitely a card you should be doing every single turn. I ended up playing a sabotage here. I weighed a lot back and forth just because I was so afraid of him coming closer to Alderaan. I kind of wanted to play rapid mobilization to pull back some forces just as a backup plan. I don't really intend to move anything this round because he could take Naboo, but there's really nothing I can do about that. I'm going to do infiltration here. All right, so I successfully infiltrated, and I'm trying to look at which one's more useful for me. And this is really trying to get milled through the deck so I can get to some of the better cards. I actually do have a decent amount spread out systems, so I'm going to put this one back on top. I was partially hoping that he would try to oppose that just to lock that system down. The weird thing to me is that he actually doesn't have a capture card. It looks like he's trying to move his units out as much as possible, which does concern me because I do not want the right side of the board moving out. I'm hoping I can keep him focused on trying to defend this Death Star under construction. So he's moved into Tatooine to defend the Death Star, and I'm really just going to play this card to try to take out as much as I can while I can. This does leave an opportunity for me to move into Rhodia, since he's moved all his forces away from there. We may cancel the Rebel Tactic card. What do you mean cancel it? Fine, I won't murder your Stormtrooper. We'll just do this the old-fashioned way. Me dying. Alright, so he's successfully taken back the space with his Death Star under construction. So I don't think there's going to be an easy win there. I'm going to attempt a sabotage in Mustafar. I'm actually really hoping that he opposes with Vader at this point, just because I would prefer not to have Vader moving a fleet as opposed to getting a sabotage marker. But he does not oppose with Vader. So this is definitely not what I want to see him doing, is moving in that direction. Because he definitely has enough plastic there to take the base. So at this point, I kind of have mixed feelings. On one hand, I kind of wish I played rapid mobilization to pull the things back to the base. On the other hand, I think doing so would have probably signaled that he's getting closer. I'm going to attempt to build an alliance in Mandalore. He's just doing a quick rule by fear over in Vegito to lock that down, since it only has, I think, one stormtrooper at this point. I'm going to go to this system and do establish trade relations. So that would get me one loyalty there, and I would get to build the units on Salakum. Alright, so it's going to let that go through. And I'm going to queue up an airspeeder on 1. Now that puts me in a pretty good spot where I think if I put these 2 units over on Alderaan, I have a decent chance of defending the ground battle there. Alright, so I counted up the units over there. It looks like he has 2 stormtroopers, 2 ATSCs, and an AT-AT. And I'm hoping that if I put these units there, combined with these, I will have a very good chance of defending that system if he decides to attack. This may be a bit foolish of me to try to get air superiority, because he just queued up a Super Star Destroyer. And this is why I think ground combat is actually more important for the Rebels than space, because between the Death Star and the Super Star Destroyer, you can get countered so good in space, whereas in ground, he really only has the AT-AT, which is superior. Alright, so I have an option between getting this card, which would end up getting me nothing, or I could pick up Son of Skywalker, which would give me Luke Skywalker, and then eventually I can go straight to getting Seek Yoda and get him up to Jedi Master. Honestly, I think thematically, if you get this card, it's the de facto choice. I mean, who doesn't want Jedi Master Luke Skywalker on their side? And it looks like my opponent got General Fears. Looks like I got Rogue Squadron Raid, which will help me see, automatically destroys 4 healths of units. Plan the assault. So this lets me do a surprise attack from the Rebel base space to a different area. So I'm reinforcing the Rebel base, entirely expecting him to attack there, and I'm kind of just going to let him. I would like to place this X-Wing in an area where maybe I can kind of come from behind. I'm going to place it there as a bit of a distraction from the base, maybe. So here, I'm going to try to do Rogue Squadron Assault. It's a long shot, but I'm hoping if I succeed unopposed, I will be able to destroy the Death Star in the queue. If he, or at the very least, he will have to oppose with someone to prevent it from happening. I put 2 people on there with R2-D2 because I prefer it to go through. I'm also going to build an alliance with Mon Mothma, and then I have 3 in reserve. Princess Leia, I think I'm going to just oppose one of the diplomacy missions or something like that gets thrown out. Tandana is going to move, depending on the results of this. And Luke Skywalker is going to do the same. I actually may end up moving first into the Rebel base, just because if he doesn't oppose here, he could end up moving into the base before it occurs. So yeah, I think first round I'm going to have to do move into the base. Uh-oh. So it looks like he's immediately moving his units into my system. And we're going to do a combat during the assignment phase. Alright, so I threw Luke Skywalker here. I'm hoping I have an opportunity to retreat. Seems very unlikely, but let's see. So I'm just going to play this to go ahead and try to thin out the fighter screen. Nice. So you're going to get a TIE fighter and prevent the 2 hits I'm doing. Coming up aces for you. So that TIE fighter just rolled right off the assembly line and immediately got destroyed. So this round I'm going to play Escape Plan, just to prevent him from playing a card next round. Ideally I would have had that transport so I could escape. And he's going to play Orbital Bombardment, which will just immediately do 2 black damage, which is really good in this case because I really have nothing but some ground troops there. Alright, so I took out the ATST here, but I did lose 2 troopers in the process. Overall, I think it was a pretty good round for me. So I'd really like to play tow cables because that just guarantees at least 1 damage for me to win this. But on the other hand, I'm torn because I really want to save that to defend my base. Dealing 4 damage against an AT-AT is no joke. Unfortunately, I think at this point, if I don't win this battle and he attacks my base, I'm going to lose with or without that card. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play it. So looking back at the board, it's not looking pretty. While he didn't successfully take that planet, I was really hoping to reinforce my base with those units, and that's not going to happen now. Yeah, Ord Montel. I'm going to do Rogue Squadron Raid and Ord Montel with these 2 fellas. Ah, wonderful. So it looks like he's going to oppose this, which isn't ideal, but the Death Star can be kind of worked around. What can't be worked around is him coming into my base this turn and moving those units around. And maybe I'll get lucky and win this roll. So we're going to come over here and do a roll off. I won that with 1 hit. Oh, that's crazy. So if successful, destroy up to 4 health worth of units of your choice on the build queue. Would you like to take a guess at what I'm going to destroy? Oh, so I really messed this up because apparently you can't destroy the Death Star in the queue. So all I'm going to destroy is that little guy right there. Yeah. So I had that huge squadron run to get rid of the Death Star, but I can't. And the Super Star Destroyer just has too much. Has just too much health. Well, it's fine. It's fine. At the very least, I locked up his units over there, so my rebel base will be saved for 1 space. So I guess the lesson learned here is that despite the propaganda, a couple of X-Wings can, in fact, not destroy the Death Star. So you're attempting to capture Luke with 1 fist against 1 fist? And I could throw someone I could throw Princess Leia to help. You were very excited about that, which makes me scared, but I'm gonna do it anyhow. Let me throw Princess Leia in there to give him a hand. Alright, so with that, I have saved Luke Skywalker, which is good. So I'm trying to build an alliance in Nalhutta. It was probably foolish for me to do that before moving, because that gives him an opportunity. In fact, one of the only places he can move is move that Death Star out, or try to. It would leave it vulnerable if he does, though. Welcome to the Alliance, Huts. So right here, he's moving Emperor Palpatine into Dantooine. I imagine just to flush out the Rebel base because he doesn't have that probe card yet. Doesn't really get him anything otherwise. So I'm moving some units into Rhodia here. This serves two purposes. One is the other player can't produce units either through building or deploying if there's enemy units there. And probably more importantly, this serves to fulfill one of my objectives, which is to have either sabotage markers or my units in an Imperial system. So I played this card to prevent him from healing damage, just so the combat doesn't go on too long. And it looks like he played Armor Patrol for the exact same reason, except on the other side, he wanted this combat to go to a second round. I guess just to take out some more of my troops. I'm a little concerned that I'm getting rid of a lot of my good cards for ground combat. It looks like we have one surviving airspeeder. So he's using research and development here to remove my sabotage marker from Mustafar and also drawing a project card. So taking a look at some of our objectives here. Basically have three Imperial systems contain a unit or sabotage. So I'm not looking good at. Having 5 next to Coruscant. I think I'll be able to get next round. And then this I'm pretty confident about. So he gets a chance right here to teleport an AT-AT, an ATST, and 2 Stormtroopers anywhere, which gives him a really good chance of just landing on the base. In fact, the last time I played with him, this is, I believe, how he ended up winning the game. On the bright side, him moving those forces will get them away from my base. Nope. The rebel base is not hanging out with the fish people. Alright, so let's look at our objectives first. It looks like the newest one we have is discard 2 other objectives from your hand to play this card. that's kind of a pity objective. It's kind of like, oh, you can't fulfill any others. Well, let's give you one for free here. Which I need, don't get me wrong. The 2 that I drew in was another safe haven, which immediately puts out some folks, and then behind enemy lines. So move 5 units from the rebel base. Leaders in the rebel base do not prevent this move. Basically a surprise attack from the rebel base. So I have an option between this card, which is pretty irrelevant, or an old friend, which you should always take, because this allows you to get a free recruitment of Chewbacca. You just kind of have to hit or set Han to the side for a second. So I ended up putting all of my space units kind of in this region in order to push into Solace. The ground units I put over in the rebel base, and I'm hoping they can hold out against, it looks like 2 ATSTs, an AT-AT, and 2 Stormtroopers. I also dispersed a few space units throughout the board in order to fulfill one of my objectives to have 1 rebel unit in a planet aligned to the Rebel Alliance. So I played an old friend just to pick up Chewbacca in Kashyyyk. So for this turn, I'm hoping to move this fleet over here into Sullust, because they're loyal to me, and if I can free them up, that's great. It'd give me a lot of ground production that I need to get back. This fleet can come in and attack me, but without any ground forces, there's very little risk of me kind of losing the planet, which is the important piece. Build alliance, always play that. I'm going to try an assault with one with the force guy. I'm hoping I can get at least 1 hit to clear off a subjugated planet. And then I'm going to play Sabotage with Luke. And really, I want to play Son of Skywalker. I want to try to stall that out because I'm worried he's going to try to capture Luke. But I'm kind of holding General Riken in reserve here to counter that. Also have Princess Leia and John Dodonna in reserve to counter anything he does. I highly suspect he's going to throw a Boba Fett at Luke Skywalker. Something that I might also do with these assault and sabotages is just stack them in a system, hoping that he'll oppose them just to lock down his units. The only problem with that strategy is that they're strength based, so anything he would throw to oppose would also help in his effort to capture. So I'm going to attack Sullust first. Seems like a smart first move. Alright, so I managed to liberate Sullust, which is nice. I ended up losing 2 of my units in the process, and I'm actually not doing great on ground units. Super nervous. Alright. Okay, good. Moving to Ryloth. I like that. That gets him a little bit farther away from the rebel base, and right now the biggest threat to my base is that Death Star laser just blowing it up, because you can't do anything to defend that from the ground. So I think if I try to sabotage or something in Ord Montel, he will almost certainly try to counter and try to capture Luke Skywalker. I'm kind of tempted to let him have it, just so I lock that fleet down. My Mothma is going to build an alliance over here. Oh, so nervous. Ugh. I really don't want him going to Alderaan. I don't see the incentive to do so. There's so many other good planets for him to run to. But at the same time, I'm also trying to prevent him from taking Luke Skywalker. And he's building another Superstar Destroyer. Oh, see, this is why I think going space game as Rebels is just a lost cause. Your best bet is to just throw out as many ground forces as you can and try to hold on. I'm going to attempt an assault over here. I think that's... what planet is that? Ord Montel or something? So one way or another, I have to roll. But for every hit that I get to destroy a stormtrooper there. And I'm hoping that'll dwindle down his forces, or it'll force him to oppose. And he chooses not to oppose. Alright, so I managed to take out 2 of his stormtroopers there, which makes me a little more confident in my defense. The fact that he didn't oppose means he definitely wants to move with those units, though. Alright, so he's trying to gather intel, which would get him 2 probe cards. I'm opposing with Dodonna. It looks like I succeeded. So that'll keep a couple of probes out of his hand. Even though I kind of intend to go public with the base soon anyhow, it'll be good because I can maybe transfer later. So I'm going to try to sabotage this area with Luke Skywalker. And that would be a combined 3 fist, but you can oppose. Again, I'm kind of hoping he opposes here. It would end up... I'm assuming Boba Fett's going to come and capture. I'm going to give up Luke Skywalker here, but it'll lock him down. I'm kind of sacrificing Luke. Alright, looks like I got 3 hits to his 4. So it looks like he's trying to capture Luke here. It would be 6 on 3. Maybe I'll get really lucky with this 6 on 3 roll. Alright, so he captured Luke. So he's doing Rule by Fear here, which will get him some allegiance in Mon Calamari. I really want to block this with Princess Leia, and I am, because I don't want him to have another planet that will get him Star Destroyers whenever we build. Ooh, so I blocked a little bit with Princess Leia. So overall, not looking like a great round for me, but I guess I could be doing worse. I get a point because at least 4 Rebel systems contain a unit. Little overkill, but it works. All right, so that's 1 point for me, which isn't great. Let's take a look at the new one that I drew. Win a space combat in somewhere that has a sabotage marker. I really don't like that. So I have a choice here between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Jyn Orso. I think this would be pretty nice to get that objective card back, but I also have a lot of refresh ones to play. But it's a free point. There is the really off chance that he decides to capture Obi-Wan, and I can do this noble sacrifice, but it's a gamble. Let's look at what the two comparison for their abilities are. So as I'm comparing these, it looks like Jyn Orso. Obi-Wan's very good at ground fighting and intel. Jyn has a lot more diversity to her. I think I'm going to pick up Obi-Wan on the off chance that this gets hit. So I'm really not enjoying the cards that I have right now. I have 2 safe haven cards, which would let me build immediately, but I don't have enough on the queue to make that really matter. Other than that, we have Planet Assault, but my base is currently surrounded. Again, this is another, I could attack a system, but base surrounded. This would actually be pretty good to get, and it's an immediate resolve to kind of fish out a card that I'm really looking for. I would really like to play Son of Skywalker first, but you can't have everything. So you deployed, if I'm keeping track of this, you put a bunch of stuff in Mon Calamari, and you put, what was it, like 1 ATST with Luke? 1 assault carrier. Okay. So I'd kind of like to get Luke Skywalker back, but I think that's a bit of a fanboy reason. I'm already at the max of 8 leaders. So, man, there's some stuff you can do to interrogate, but it's not too bad. I can also, apparently during any point in time during the command phase, I can willingly reveal my base, and I might do that just to achieve the having 5 units next to Coruscant. It is an option. The other thing I could do is just move in this way to Corellia. Alright, so for this turn, I'm going to infiltrate to try to fix my objective deck a little bit because he just shuffled it around. You got to look at the top 3 and put them back in any order. Secret mission, I'm really hoping so I can get some decent cards because I'm really getting a lot of junk here. Sabotage, just to help meet one of my objectives potentially and to shut down his production next round. And the build alliance, I'm throwing Princess Leia on because I want to get my Mothma to get this secret mission. It just worked out that way. And if anything, if it counters, I'll use C-3PO. We're going to move, I think, into Corellia to get that system and alternately threaten the core without having to reveal my base. But if it comes down to it, I may willingly reveal it. And then we have a couple of other people in reserves to counter as needed. I'm going to try to infiltrate over here. Luke Skywalker won't help so you can oppose if you want, but gotta fix that objective deck you screwed up for me. Alright, so let's see. If there's no captures rebel leaders, I get to play this one. Oh, wow. So this I just willingly destroy units in order to get a point, and I do not have the units to do that. It would be a very good late game play, maybe, but that is just that would be like a last turn. Game is done. Here's a point. And I do intend to get Luke back, so I kind of like both of these. But I think the chances of me getting this one is a little less because I don't know if I'm going to get anything back on the build queue too much. He's taken over the board pretty well. I think I have a better chance of getting this. Ooh, yes. Please move away from my base. Ah. So I'm doing secret mission here, just to draw 6 and pick 1. Get something back from your discard pile that could be useful in the future. Again, I'm moving things from my base in order to attack somewhere, which I know is a good theme. It's like it's a good strategy, but right now there's too much pressure on my base. This kind of keeps me, if I really want something done. Oh, see, this would be really good for me to get Skywalker back. So it looks like of these cards, Reconnaissance may actually be the best one. So I really like being able to get back something from my discard. Even though currently I have nothing in there that's even worth getting back. But this would let me get Luke Skywalker back, which I'd kind of enjoy. Again, probably not the most optimal play, but I'm a nerd. And, you know, how can you play this and not get Luke Skywalker? It's also probably super suboptimal to me to play that because I think I'm coming up against the limit of 8 leaders that you can have per the expansion rules. So I'm going to have to ditch one. But maybe I'll get lucky and he'll try to capture Obi-Wan. So at this point, I think I'm wearing him down. So he moved a little bit into Geonosis, which isn't too bad. But before that, he actually tried to play a card that he couldn't at the time. And he's sitting here playing, looks like with a drunk Death Star. It takes a little while to get it standing upright. And then I have to remind him to leave a Stormtrooper behind in order to keep that subjugated. Something to note here is he does choose not to land any of his ground forces, which I'm 99% sure is allowed. Okay, so with a little problems, we ended up having to do some rewind of time and stuff. With a little bit of effort, we ended up killing each other on the ground combat here in Corellia. It's really difficult doing this upside down, which breaks the subjugation, and I'm hoping I can then take the planet by building an alliance. All right, so he's trying to interrogate Luke Skywalker, and I'm sending Chirrut for backup, so it should be 8 dice on 8. Well, no interrogating Luke for you. Come on, Chewie. Blow some stuff up. Looking at the board, he's got a lot of plastic and a lot of subjugation. But I don't see anywhere that he has a lot of ground forces being created. So I might switch up to ground force tactics. Why would I be there? That's where they have those crazy Night Sisters. I think Corellia is going to come onto the side of the Empire or the rebels. Welcome to the Alliance. So I have Corellia, which would meet the requirements. So I'm not going to reveal my base here. Ooh. So he plays single reactor ignition, which destroys all the ground troops in the area there. And it would have revealed my base if it was there. So I'm just passing out. Dodonna will maybe be useful in trying to counter something. I really just don't have anything better for him to do. I really have the one fleet running around the galaxy. If I move this at all, he would get production there. So I don't really want to do that. In hindsight, it maybe would have been better for me to move that fleet just to save it from the Death Star that's about to come, I dare say, liberate the planet. And right now, he's just doing a rule by fear in Mon Calamari, trying to bring that back to his side. It really just flips it back to neutral, but still subjugated. I assume he's trying to get that Star Destroyer production back online. Yeah, I'm going to oppose the long-range probe with Dodonna. This is a really great play for this card because it would tell me whether the base is in that system, and obviously it doesn't have the card for it. And there's no ships of his around there, so since we tie this, he ends up losing, and it kind of gives him a red herring. So I'm really not a fan of this card. So I said Han to oppose over in Kashyyyk. But I get really lucky with this roll here. I get the double lightsaber, so it counts for 2. To his 0, so I end up winning this one. I threaten the core. Play if at least 5 rebel units are in and or adjacent to Coruscant. Alright, looks like I got misdirection, which is prevents someone from opposing a mission, which I guess isn't too bad. Oh, this is a good card. So if by chance I end up being down a leader, this gets me 1 back, which is pretty good. Just like for my objective. Oh, yeah, play if there's no captured rebel leaders. I should have known that one. So I've deployed a bunch here with the intention of taking out this fleet. Just to get some plastic off the board and to weaken his position in space. And maybe go after here to try to defend my own base. Another thing I want to do is come up this way and to try to free these planets. It is one of my objectives, is combat win a space or ground combat against somewhere with a sabotage. So, pretty good move there. All right, so I'm thinking send Obi-Wan out to free Luke Skywalker. Build an alliance, which you should do every round with Mon Mothma. I'm going to do an infiltration to try to fix the objective deck up a little bit. I'd really like the one that says willingly reveal your base. Sabotage works towards one of my objectives. And then having 4 in the back here, I kind of want to go this direction to meet one of my objectives. And then over in this direction to reinforce the base. Looking at this, there is quite a bit of ground forces, but I think it's defendable. So if I can get the one that says willingly reveal my base and just hold them off, I think I'd have a good game. I do think if I could get this mission, and I can start moving these forces out, I can start going towards this Death Star. I kind of want to head them off. I'm going to put Obi-Wan Kenobi over there and do for the greater good. Attempt in any system that contains a captured leader. If successful, rescue that leader, draw one objective, and the leaders assigned to this mission remain in the system. So Darth Vader has an action card that says something like, when a leader is freed, you end up capturing one of the, I guess, liberators. I don't really capture it on film here, but that's what's occurring. And then in response to that, I'm playing Noble Sacrifice on Obi-Wan. I'm just picking up my one objective. All right, Imperial player places one of the 2 remote systems each time. Oh, nice. So I basically get 2 objectives that I need to go against. This actually is immediately resolved. You get to place 2 markers in any 2 remote systems. Each time I capture one of those markers, I gain a reputation. So he chooses to place them there, and it's a really good decision because if you look at the game, like we have 3 rounds to play, there's no way my fleets are getting over there. So he moves into Utapau, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. If anyone knows how to actually pronounce that, correct me in the comments below. But he pronounces it Utapau. Anyhow, I skipped the little battle here just because it's one X-Wing, and I don't even think he loses anything in the fight. So I think the markers are too far away. I may be able to move there with one of the cards that teleports me. Using like behind enemy lines or something. Unfortunately, it won't let me go to remote systems, but it works. I could probably teleport to here and then take them. But for now, I'm going to move my fleet, I think, into the Mustafar system. And I go ahead and just skip that battle because we each just lose 1 trooper. I have this card here. After you win a space or ground combat in a system that contains a sabotage marker, you may then remove the sabotage marker and get a reputation. So I flipped it over to blockaded. It's still loyal to you, but I'm just doing my own form of subjugation. So he plays Fear Will Keep Them in Line, which is an absolutely amazing card for the Empire because loyalty is so hard to come by. And this gives you 2 loyalty and 2 of any systems in the region. I'll try to oppose with Leia. Alright, here we go. You get like an auto 2. Oh, I got 1. Oh well. So he ends up flipping Utapau and Naboo back to neutral allegiance, with Utapau being subjugated. I will try to build an alliance back on this world. to reassure them that fear is not the way. I love how you say you will let that happen. So at this point, I'm kind of curious how much he has it narrowed down. And he says he has it down to about 1 out of 6 planets after this move here, which to him is pretty close. Just moving some ships. Nothing to see here. So that poor defenseless transport. You can't even find it. There's so much plastic covering it up. He does say that now after this move, he's down to 1 in 5 planets. So the fact that a lot of his troops are moving away from where my base is makes me feel much more comfortable. I think the fact that it only gave him 1 production just made him kind of move out of there. So I'm pretty confident that he's got Boba Fett and Darth Vader just waiting to capture one of my units. And right now, he's kind of locked in, and he can't grab anything from the board except for... Oh, he can move here to do it. Okay, I might as well try then. So I'm going to do a sabotage here because I really don't want to lose Leia. Chewbacca would help out with some strength, and then I can throw in Truett to help out. So he's using Subversion. Vader, not something I want to see, because I'm pretty sure Boba Fett's going to come capture. And he shuts that down. Ugh. He has so many missions left. So I'm just sending Donna to infiltrate over here, I think. Yeah, that way it'll maybe lock those ships down. And hopefully give him a target that I actually want him to take. Ooh. The fanboy in me loves this card so much. If you win a battle against Vader or the Emperor and Luke Skywalker, Jedi form is in the system, then you get to eliminate them. But it's so situational. Whereas here, if I don't get the Death Star plans now, I might not get them at all. And I'm moving in the way to fight the Death Star. The problem is he's also going to reinforce pretty heavy in that area, I think. You know what? I'm going to fanboy it. I'm going to put this one on top. And I'm going to put this one on the bottom. And we'll see. Ugh. So he's playing Probe Droid Initiative, and he's playing it with a special character, which gives him a total of 4 probe cards. I am going to pass my turn, so you can resolve anything you need. I just got good old one with the Force. So he actually ends up passing here as well, which really confuses me because he has Boba Fett out. I'm assuming it's a special card that he wants to hold on to. I'm really curious as to what it was. Alright, so I pick up 1 point because I have no captured leaders, which gets me pretty close. Probably so close that the one that just... the Vader one I picked up for thematic reasons probably is irrelevant. So it looks like I picked up this card, Prepare for Battle. Pretty nice. Gets all your cards back for your advanced tactics. This lets you double starting mission, which is very nice actually, especially for diplomacy. But at this point in the game, I've really locked down a lot of the systems diplomatically. Yeah, I think at this point with this discard to other objectives, it'll go up, and then I just have to last until the end of this round, which is good. So I play rapid mobilization here just in case this goes another round. I can pull back some more troops into the base. Now, I really should have taken that objective because I think at this point I definitely could have blown up the start of the Death Star. So I'm doing contingency plan here on rapid mobilization. Again, just the opportunity to pull back forces in case it goes another round, just so I can survive. So he's moving some forces into Kessel. I assume he just doesn't have that probe card. Still looking for the base. So I'm just resolving diplomacy here in Utapau. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and most importantly, leave a comment below. I'm still really new to doing these videos, and I really enjoy it, but I would appreciate any feedback or help you guys can provide out there. So he's just doing a move here into Yavin, and at this point, between the probe cards he has and the kind of pieces he has on the board, he figures out that I have it in Alderaan, and so he figures out he's looking in Alderaan places. So I'm playing Infiltration here with Luke Skywalker. I think at this point the game's pretty much over. I don't think he has anything in range that could really hit my base, so we're kind of just playing it out. Of course, I get this now. I should really infiltrate more in the game to kind of go through this deck quicker. I didn't realize this was a phase 3 card. So he's sending Boba Fett over to capture Luke Skywalker. And I decide to send Chewbacca just to help him out. Let's see, we have 3 to 4 to defend Luke. Go. So he's sending Emperor Palpatine to do Imperial propaganda, just to get some loyalty in a couple systems. At this point, I've passed just to oppose anything he's trying to do. Let's see what we get here. 2 hits. So he does end up succeeding there, and he gets Corellia and Cato Nemodia, goes back to neutral. So for his last turn, he moves a couple units into Mandalore. I suppose in case on the off chance I was just lying about where I was, or it goes another round. I played this card to discard 2 other objectives from my hand to play it, which moves the reputation marker up 1, and then the time marker goes up as well. And that ends the game. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'd like to make more videos like this. If anyone has any specific board games they want to see me play or anything like that, just drop a comment down below. Let me know. Or even if you want to play a board game together, let me know your Steam. I usually play through Tabletop Simulator or something like Tabletopia.